Okay. And I'm live. All right. At 6 o'clock today, I am going to be on NBC News with my man here. What is his name? Vince Sims. And we're going to be talking about the this thing called the nickel plan. Hold on. There you are. Mr. Vince was up in my office today. Going to be pretty cool. All right. So we're talking about Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick's double nickel plan. And I was just thinking, I'm going to be on the news talking about this, but they're going to whittle down what I'm saying into like a little sound bite. And there's going to be so much more information that I want to give and want to tell people about. But it's honestly kind of complicated. And if you don't have more than just a sound bite to answer the question, it's just never going to get across. So I just thought, you know what? Why don't I, instead of just depending on the news and Vince Sims, he's probably going to do a great job. It really, guys, it is absolutely unbelievable to watch them show up, record all this stuff, and have a super awesome finished product on the news at 6 o'clock. It's mind blowing. With that said, they've got to say everything so simple and so dumbed down so that it doesn't require any explanation, but yet you get the kind of the end result of like the punchline of whatever it is that the point they're trying to get across. And that is not my strong suit. However, they have an editor, so that always works in my favor. All right. So I thought, well, let's just go live and I'm going to go over this whole thing. So recently, there have been several politicians talking about different property tax plans out there. Governor Abbott gave his take on what he thinks the new property tax policies should be. He's got 6 different policy ideas. I really like one of them. I'm okay with about 3 of them, and I really don't like 2 of them. And I would love to go into detail about that. But today's news is all about the nickel plan. This is Dan Patrick's nickel plan. And here's what it is. I'm just going to start going over this really quick. The double nickel plan, it's a cute way of saying like it's for the people that are going to be 55 and over. That's really who it caters to. And I think it's pretty accurately titled because as you're going to see here in a second, those are the people that really benefit a whole lot. But let me go over what the changes are. So right now, the regular homestead exemption gives you a $140,000 deduction off of the school district portion on your property tax bill. Okay. So 140,000, they're going to increase that to 180,000. So what that means is, let me just do some really quick math for you. If I took, so that's a difference of $40,000. That's going to be about $1,000 for the average person. Okay. For some reason, yeah, but let's just keep going. The over 65 exemption is going to be increased by $60,000, and my graphic here isn't quite working. So what that means is it's going to go from 200,000 to 240,000. It's not the math ain't mathing, but here this is what I spent all my time doing. I just kind of understood the points of what's changing. Basically, they're going to add $40,000 to your homestead exemption, and then they're going to capture the over 65 crowd. Instead of starting the over 65 exemption at 65 years old, they're going to reduce that down to 55 years old. And that's really the story here is if you're in that age bracket from 55 to 65 years old, if then you're going to be included in the over 65 exemption. And so here's what it really looks like. You've got, if you had a $471,000 property, then it's going to benefit these different age groups on different levels. First of all, if you don't have any exemptions at all, you don't get any savings. It's just not for you. This is not the plan that's going to work for you. Hold on, let me get this. I just thought I should blow it up a little bit. All right. But, and if you're just a regular homeowner under the age of 55, then on a property that's of that size, you're going to get an additional $458 subtracted from your tax bill. This is the real winner. If you're 55 to 64 years old, then the amount of additional savings that you would get in this tax plan would be this 1,900 number. And then if you're already over 65, you already have an over 65 exemption, you do get some more benefit. It's not going to be quite as much, but it's still a pretty decent amount. So that's on the most expensive property. The cool thing about this is that since the savings is a calculation, it's like a flat fee savings, then it really doesn't matter if you're in the mid to upper range of property values or you're in that lower range of property values. You can see here, because the tax rate is different, the actual amount of savings on this particular house ended up being more because it's a flat fee amount of savings. Okay, so if you had a $283,000 house, this right here, this ends up being a huge percentage of savings for you if you're in this age range. Okay, in the other age ranges, you're still getting some savings, but it's just not as much as it would be if you're in this 55 to 64-year-old range. Now, here's where it gets really, really interesting, and I think that this part you're not going to hear about on the news is this right here. So on a $116,000 property, this homeowners that have houses in this price range, if they have a homestead exemption on the property, they're already paying zero on the school district tax. They're already paying that. And you might be thinking, that's crazy. There's no way. I'll show you. On the 55 to 64-year-old range, there's going to be some additional savings, but it's just not a ton. It's $356 in savings. In the over 65 crowd, they're already getting the max amount of savings. You can't pay any less than zero. So they're already paying zero. Right now, it looks like this is a lot, but it's not. Let me just go to show you something here. Let me, first of all, I'll show you how you can calculate it on your own. If you Google, let's see here. If you Google, if you're in Tarrant County and you Google Tarrant Tax Assessor, and you go to this website, then you would search for the property tax thing here. You go down to the property search, and then you put in an address, okay? So I'm just going to put in my own address so I don't have to worry about anybody getting permission from anybody, okay? So here you go. All right. Let me show you. You can go to any person's house and go look at their tax bill, and you just pull it up like this. And you can see where the money comes from. So in your total tax bill, there's always several different taxing entities that are making money or they're receiving revenue from your tax bill. So in this case, it's Keller ISD. It's this special PID. Some subdivisions have a little extra tax like this. A lot of people are paying for the publicly funded college and hospital, the water district in certain parts of the county, and then you've got the Tarrant County itself, and then the city. So in all of the tax legislation proposals that you're going to see, the only line on this whole document that they're talking about is the Keller ISD line or the school district line. So I'm in Keller ISD. This is my part of the tax bill. It's going to Keller ISD. You can see they just add all these together, and the total amount is here. So the number that we're talking about over here, we're talking about reducing a certain amount of money. So it's going from $200,000 to $240,000. Well, the $240,000, where you're going to see that is right here in this area. Right now, the homestead exemption as it is right now is $140,000. So this number right here would go up to $180,000. So, and then you just do the math. You take this 283 minus 180,000, and then it's going to generate, and then they multiply whatever's left over. You get the taxable value, multiply that by the tax rate, and that's how you get the amount that you're going to pay. So if on that small property that we talked about, the one that is 116,000, if the amount of money that's being subtracted already exceeds the actual property value, then your tax bill on that line would already say zero right there. And since we're not talking about legislation that's going to affect any of this other stuff, then that's what we're talking about. And the reason we're not talking about legislation that's going to affect any of this other stuff is because property taxes are paid locally. You'll hear people say there's no such thing as a state property tax. Well, that's kind of true, but we live in a state that mandates a free public education for everybody. And the only way to make that happen is if the state plays a role in making sure that the poor areas get funding and The way they get the funding is they take it from the rich areas. This is the Robin Hood plan or whatever. It's technically called recapture. Well, since the state plays a role in that, they can pass legislation to affect the exemptions that are mandated across the board. And so, because it's really kind of a state property tax, even though we pay it locally, so they can make a change and it can affect every school district in the entire state. And that's the reason why we're limited to just this one line anytime they're talking about any kind of property tax legislation. Now, here's something kind of crazy that you're not going to hear about anywhere else, and it's this. Right now, as it is in Tarrant County, 51% of seniors pay zero school property tax. Right here, right now, this is already the way it is. And if you want to see this, just go to my website, chandlercrouch.com/blog, and you'll see it's going to be the first entry for a little while. I might turn this other thing, the double nickel plan thing, into its own entry, but this is it. Let me show you on a pie graph. This is the way it is. So 51% of people pay zero school district property tax. Yowzes. And if you look at this number right here, you can see that 29% of people pay less than $1,000. So 4 out of 5 people are paying less. Shut it down. Oh, I'm back. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know if y'all missed out on seeing stuff, but it looked like it was going dark on my end. So here's the deal. This is what I was showing everybody. 4 out of 5 people pay less than $1,000 in school district property tax right now, currently under the current laws. You might be thinking, wait a second, I'm paying a lot more than that. Well, look at this. I broke it down by school district. If you're in Lake Worth ISD, 92% of homeowners are paying zero. 92%. That's almost all of them. Keller ISD, only 38% of homeowners are paying zero. And the reason is because of property values. It's what I already showed you on this page. When they pass the exemptions for this stuff, if you have a low property value, you're getting the maximum amount of savings percentage wise. Okay. And so if you just look at it, here's another way to view this. The red is, these are the people paying zero. The ones paying less than 1,000 are this yellow color. And then the top is the people paying more than 1,000. You can see this segment right here, Keller ISD, they're paying more in property tax than anybody else because the property values are higher. Okay. And you can see, I just thought, well, really what this is, it has nothing to do with the school district. It has everything to do with the property values. It's just that everything property tax related really is divided up into school district segments. And so I thought, well, I'm going to just show you what the median property value is for all these different school districts, and that'll show you, what we're dealing with. And it's basically proportionate. You've still got tax rates that play a role in this, and so there you go. All right, so here's the deal. You already have a whole bunch of people paying zero. Here's a big point that you have to understand. That again, you're not going to hear this anywhere else. We can talk about this stuff all day long, and it's good. I love that our legislators are sitting there thinking about how can they make things better for us. And I'm partial to the homeowners. But if you saw on my example here, the one group of people that doesn't get any benefit whatsoever are the folks